Hi everyone, this is Heather Jackson from Oregon Buy Prep and Ship. Welcome to my new channel. One of the things I wanted to do is highlight people who are helping other people on Amazon FBA, helping sellers out. I have felt since we started our prep center that we're really serving people who are overseas, people who are in Canada, in the USA, and I've been drawn to other people who are also serving and helping out FBA sellers. There's just so much information. I started selling on Amazon 4 years ago, and there was mostly men just giving analytical conversations and, just doing all these metrics. And so I wanted to start with my very first guest, Gaye Lisby, who is an inspirational woman and who has been helping Amazon sellers and who has been very successful at selling herself. So, hi Gaye, it's nice to have you on.
Hi, it's good to be with you, Heather. Appreciate it.
So, this is my very first interview, so thank you so much. I can't believe that I've got somebody with your profile for my first one. And I wanted to start out. So, Gaye is famous for having paid off her mortgage within a year. Is that right?
That's correct.
After selling,
yes.
That wasn't your first year? Was that your?
That was our first full year selling. So it was actually our second year, but our first full year selling.
So I think when people hear that, they immediately can see the dream, and that's why people, and I think women who are the caretakers of the home can hear something like that and want to be able to contribute, especially if they've chosen to stay home with their family. And even if they are working, everyone uses the term side hustle now, but women are attracted to that, being able to help out or do something that could significantly impact on the family, like pay off the mortgage or just pay the mortgage each week, each month, or pay off a car, anything that helps out. So Gaye, now, you do still sell on Amazon?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, in a big way.
But she's also found her calling in helping other Amazon sellers, and she helps run a seminar every year. And I just wanted to start out by reading her quote. So that's on the website for that seminar. Okay. It says, what if an Amazon seller conference was seller-centric? What if it was built to serve the needs of sellers of every level instead of only to sell stuff? What if it was about you? So you could be changed, transformed. What if you could scale to a new level of thinking and being, so much so that your business could grow 10 times without strain, without crippling mistakes, without losing your passion? What if you hit that flow, that magical place where impossible becomes possible, where the darkness becomes light, and you suddenly see that money's all around you? What if amazing freedom really was for you? Isn't that beautiful?
Thank you. Thank you. That really is our mission. That was our mission statement, really, for the Branson conference that we did, which was the first OARA focused conference that we had ever done, and it actually is the only one this year that I know of in the seller space. And it was a sold out conference. It was awesome that our first year we were able to do that. And but that really was our mission, because we really do believe that there is money all around us. You just have to sort of crack the code, and maybe some of the guidance that we bring into people's lives help them crack that code and realize that there is money all around us and opportunity all around us. You just have to learn to see it and learn how to see it. And Amazon gives us a great platform by which we can access that money.
Yes, and I know that's the thing that I'm so interested in hearing more about, because when you can't pay your bills, when you're stuck and you're scared, and maybe that mortgage payment or the rent payment is due, and it's really hard to think, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to find a way to do this, and you can't see any money. You just see the problems coming at you, and then we often know what happens then is that multiplies, and you've got that fear mentality. So I want to hear a little bit about how you started, and whether you already had money when you started, or whether you were coming from that fear, or like, yeah, just give me the rundown of your background and how you got to this place.
Yeah, so hitting on that fear aspect, that's important, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But just to give you a little framework for where we started from, my sister and I, we're both middle-aged people, and both of us come from teaching backgrounds. She was actually still teaching. She was special services director at one of the local school systems, and when we started. And what happened was, life can deal you those pretty tough blows sometimes where you're like, I thought it was this, but then all of a sudden it's not, and so that's what happened to me in my marriage. And it was a tough blow. It was a place where all of a sudden at middle age, you're like, this is not what I thought it was. And, there's a lot of heartache involved in that, and pain. And then a lot of really questioning, am I worth anything? Can I do anything? And at the same time, I had started suffering these, and not a lot of people know this, but I had started suffering these weird, mysterious seizures. And not epileptic seizures, they were non-epileptic seizures, but I don't know if it was just a buildup of all the stress or just exactly how it happened. But I started, and my husband was like, well, I don't really like sickness. I was like, well, I'm not being sick, on purpose, so then the kind of the lid comes off, and then you're starting to see really what your life is about, and maybe all the pieces and parts I had written, because I'm a writer, and so maybe I had written too much fiction into it, and all of a sudden the reality was that I was alone. And so anyway, ended up on my own. Fortunately, my sister had a house, and at that time had a job, and so she had an extra bedroom. And she was out on her own too. So
would you say that was rock bottom for you?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, she would go to work teaching school, and I had been a teacher and couldn't be in the classroom anymore because of the seizures. And so I would sit in front of the computer, and I would think, there's got to be some way for this thing to make me money. I can't go out in the workaday world. And so I got to be able to figure out how do I get this thing, I would like, how does this thing make me money, and so I got into some MLM things and a couple deals like that, and I did all right with it, but, I hadn't hit my stride. And I had one of my online mentors. He was a young man, and he really believed in me. That was a really key thing. Because for those of you who have been in hard places, when all of a sudden somebody comes along beside you and believes that you're smart and you're capable and you can, and then tells you that, and then shows you that by their actions, he was a young man that I had known since before he got married to his wife. He was, I think they had like 5 or 6 kids at the time. They've got 8 now. And so anyway, he believed in me, and he hit upon this Amazon thing. And, at that point, I'm like, the seizures are a little bit better, maybe I can do a little bit of work. And so I had become a caregiver for an elderly retired surgeon. And it was kind of a safe job because I didn't have to be out in public and stress and that sort of thing. But, bottom line is I was wiping bottoms of a 80-something-year-old man that, had hepatitis C and suffered from chronic illness, and he's gone on to be with Jesus now. But I felt kind of called to be with him in that part of his journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was kind of following my online mentor, Zach. I was kind of watching a little bit about what he was doing. He's like, Gaye, you need to do this Amazon selling stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I'm walking with Dr. Jim now. And, this is a thing that I feel like, and then every once in a while he'd pop up every couple months. Gaye, you need to do this Amazon thing. I'll be like, yeah. Then one day he posted his results, and in 9 months, he had sold over $750,000 worth
Wow.
of merchandise on Amazon, and his net profit was $225,000. I was like, whammo. I got lit up.
Results speak.
Results speak. That's right. And, success leaves clues.
Yes.
And so I was like, I need to figure out how he's doing this. Well, he was kind enough, to help me and kind of mentor me and that sort of thing. Well, anyway, my sister and I started in September 2014. We just started by scanning stuff around our house. We downloaded the free Amazon seller app, and we just went around and scanned. Yeah, exactly. We just went around and scanned everything in the house that had a UPC code, just to see, like, what is this selling for on Amazon? Just kind of learn. And books and things like that. And we started selling. Well, from September to December, we did $17,000 in ordered product sales. And so we thought, this is something real. This is not just, this is not some scammy thing. It's not MLM. It's not, trying to recruit people or anything like that. It's just buying and selling.
You don't have to get your friends involved to make money.
It was just me and my sister Colleen. We're just like, buy stuff, sell stuff, buy stuff, sell stuff. It's a commerce that's been going on for thousands of years. And so that lit us up. We're like, this is real. And so the next year, 2015, we really put our focus on it. And we ended the year in 508,000 in ordered product sales. And that was the year we paid off our mortgage. And that was, and you can see the video on YouTube. I think you just go type my name in the search bar and that'll come up. But that's what really lit us up. And that really was what gave us our wings. Because when we didn't have a mortgage payment looking over our shoulder, my sister had been renting a house, and then one day mom called and she was like, hey, there's this house, 3 doors up from us. And this old man is a World War II veteran, and he's going to sell and move back to his family in Kansas. And I was like, well, Mom, we're not in the, we're going to wait until Colleen's done with school this year, and work in the summer to try to maybe find something, because we were like, didn't want to just rent and throw money out the window. So then she named the price that the old man had named to her. And I said, I'll be right up. So we ended up buying this house. Really, Colleen bought it because she was the one that had the job and the money at that time. And then in 2015, which was the year after we had bought the house, we went to the bank, and, it was just a enthusiastic high, because we got to write that check that paid off that mortgage, and we were absolutely debt free. And, our vehicles were paid off, our house was paid off. And then we just flew from there. I mean, the next year it was 1.7 million, almost 1.7 million in order product sales. And so, it's just so possible. We always say, if 2 menopausal grandmas like us can do this, anybody can do it. And probably most people could do it easier and better, because we were just stumbling around.
Yeah. But you didn't have a lot of capital to start with, did you?
We had none. That was the amazing thing, because we had no capital, and, Colleen was working, right? So at that time, so she was working, and then, her money was more or less paying the bills. She was teaching, whatever. And then I started caregiving. There wasn't much money in that, but I was starting to contribute. And so I would take like 20 or 30 bucks from each paycheck, and I would go to like the thrift stores, and I would scan for books. And So this is a funny thing. So we were in Jasper, Arkansas, at the Museum of Junk. Honest truth, that's the name of the place, Museum of Junk. And we found this $2 cookbook, and it's a big, thick cookbook. In fact, I've got a copy of it over there. And it's a big, thick, like 1,700 pages, right? And we bought it for $2. Well, we bought it because Mom cooked out of it on the farm when we were growing up on the farm, and
memory.
And so we remembered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was like, yeah, keep that. Maybe my kids would be interested in it. So when we started selling on Amazon, I was like, wonder about that $2 cookbook, So we created a listing, put it on Amazon, and that cookbook sold for $89.
Oh, wow.
We'd only bought it for $2. Well, that's a fantastic return on your investment.
Yeah.
So you know what I did? And this is the thing that a lot of people won't do, is I pressed repeat. So then what I did is I searched everywhere. I searched Craigslist, eBay, Abe Books, thrift stores, everywhere I could to see if I could find that title and sell that title again.
Of course.
Yeah. So the last time that we sold that title, it sold for $259.
Wow.
Right before Christmas. Somebody wanted it for a gift.
Yeah.
It was a memory to them. Are you kidding me? So, there's just money all around us, opportunity all around us. But we started with no capital. So we go to thrift stores, yard sales, things like that, and find stuff.
Keep reinvesting.
And absolutely.
That's
so
what I say to people. You've got to be willing to not touch it in those beginning phases.
That you hit it. You are so right. That's the key, because some people will eat their own seed. So as a farmer, growing up on the farm, I mean, we knew, and farmers know this, you don't eat your seed, right? So what your growth, the money that comes in from your growth, don't take anything from it to begin with. And that was key. So Colleen was, because she'd been in business before she went into teaching, and so she had some business background. So one of her first things was, we're opening a business checking account, and
business.
separate, right? And everything we make is going to go in there, and we'll buy out of it, sell out of it, and don't mix your metaphors, as she says.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to ask you about sacrifices that you've had to make. But one of the things is, when you get that first big check from Amazon, you didn't go out and buy, well, you obviously paid off your mortgage, but that was down the track. But you don't go and celebrate. You reinvest.
You reinvest. Absolutely.
You go and find that next product and that next product and that next product.
Right.
But that's addictive in itself.
It is.
Now when I'm scanning and I find anything, or even online, you're like, I call it gleaning when I go RA shopping, but it's gold digging online.
Come on,
I call it gleaning when I'm at TJ Maxx, and you're finding all this stuff, and you're like, how come no one else is, picking up this $5 Nike shirt and selling it for $35 or whatever? I mean,
because they don't know, right? They
Yeah.
don't know, because they don't know. The truth is, there is money all around us.
Yes.
You have, and I have learned to crack the code, right?
Yes.
And so, and we know, and so that knowledge just gives us huge power, right?
Gleaning is from the book, Ruth in the Bible, because wasn't it Boaz? He would leave some good wheat laying on the ground, and she would just have to go and pick it up.
Come on.
You don't have to do any of the work. So that's why I call it gleaning, because you've got to be willing to go there and scan. You got to stand there and go to Ross, or go to one of those places and scan everything. And it can be a little bit tedious, but boy, when I always say I got a gold vein too, because you won't find anything for a little while, and you'll get a little bit frustrated, and all of a sudden you get to the rack, right? And there's like 10 things on that one little, in that little section that are paying off. So you got to just keep going.
That's right. And make those sacrifices. I mean, like you talked about, because we did. A lot of people won't trade what they know for what they don't know. And there's that fear factor that keeps them bound to the man, as I call it, working for the man.
Yes.
And now if a person is loving their job and that sort of thing, more power to you. You can still build a side hustle and get extra income on Amazon. Not putting down people who do have career jobs. Or corporate jobs or 9 to 5. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, a lot of people continue that and still grow a very, very good side hustle on Amazon.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck or, like you mentioned about, maybe ladies that are at home with raising their children and they don't know, they could open a stream of income on Amazon and not even have to leave their house.
That's
because
right.
they could do it as online arbitrage. So
Yes.
the very same type of idea of going to the store and scanning, buying low and selling high,
Mm-hmm.
you can carry that into sales on online stores.
Yes.
And do it from your house.
And that's why I like doing this and talking to you. And I'm going to interview men as well, but I think that women like seeing women talk about this. And one of the things that I was telling you before is with the prep company that I'd like to start a prep course to show people, some of the best practices. But I'm also hoping that people see that there's money to be made in selling some services to people who sell on Amazon. So if you're really good at sourcing, you can source for other people.
That's right.
That's online or in store. And I want to do a little course on how to show people how to prep for other people. So, and I think you also do some mentoring, is that right? Or have you got, how have you found other income streams from Amazon that aren't directly related to selling on Amazon? I mean, it's related to selling on Amazon, but you're making money, not just selling.
Right. Well, one of the things that happened to me was that as we were growing our business and we're, it's a product business. So you can't sell what you don't have, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to buy product to sell product.
Yep. It's a physical product business.
It's a physical product business. It's so, but as we were growing and there was, for me, because I have always been a teacher, I had little brothers and sisters that, I taught my baby sister the ABCs, I taught my 2 baby sisters how to tie their shoes. They'll tell, they would tell the story. I taught my baby brother how to throw a baseball, those kinds of things that always had that teacher in me. Right. And also always had this altruistic, bent in my heart and my mind because, as a Christian, I was guided by the scripture that just really, really went deep in my heart when I learned it. And it was in Galatians where it says, we who are strong ought to bear the weaknesses of others and not to help only ourselves.
Yes.
So the thing that was missing for me was that helping others, teaching others. And so, so this is actual true story. This is how this happened, that I came to help others. So I'm scanning in Nike, right? Okay, so I'm in the Nike outlet store, right?
Yep.
And so my sister's over on another aisle, and she's doing her thing. And we're pulling out boxes, and and we had made relationships with the Nike people there at the store, and so they knew we were bulk buyers, and so. We're pulling out and making stacks, and their employees were coming and carrying the stacks up to the front. And, we always make sure we come when it's more convenient for them than it is for us. So we don't cause a disruption in the store. And we feel like we have pretty good store etiquette, right?
Oh, nice.
So that's how you build relationships.
That's a good one. I like that word, store etiquette, guys.
Store etiquette.
That's a good one.
Right. As a bulk buyer, you don't want to go, tear up somebody's store and then expect them to be friendly towards you.
Yeah.
When you come in the next time. So anyway, we have these stacks, right? So I see this young man out the corner of my eye, right? And I can tell he's scanning, but he's kind of floating around, and you can tell he's kind of trying to see what I'm doing, right? So finally he just comes over and he says, hey, I think I'm doing what you're doing, but you must be doing it a lot better than me. So I said, well, how long have you been selling on Amazon? And, and so we talked just a few minutes, and I said, you're welcome to scan along with me. I'll scan through the store. I'll show you what I know. So I was like, okay, this, and this is why this would be a buy. This is why this wouldn't be a buy, and just going on through the store. So I said, what would really help you is if you could connect to Amazon seller community, of other people doing the same thing, and maybe learn from them. And he said, well, I am in a Facebook group called Amazing Freedom, but their main focus is private label. And I'm just not ready to go into private label yet because I don't feel like I have enough capital. And so it was so funny that he said that, because the boys that run Amazing Freedom, I know them personally.
Oh, wow.
And I had met them at a conference down in Kentucky, and we had just connected, just was an immediate connection with these boys. Yep. So I messaged Andy Slammons and I said, this happened. And I said, do you think there'd be room for a community to form out of Amazing Freedom that really is devoted to online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, to
Yep.
teach people how to do this and build capital until they're ready to move into private label? And he said, fantastic, let's do it. That's how Amazon Seller Tribe was formed. And that's the group that I run, where I actually do mentor many sellers, hundreds of sellers now in the Amazon space. So that fulfills that part of me. But it also opened another stream of income, because it is a subscription-based group.
Yep.
You got to pay to play. Membership has its privileges.
Yes.
And we make sure that they have really good privileges in our group.
You're teaching Amazon FBA.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So that's a long answer to your short question.
Oh, no, it's a perfect answer, because I think that, there's a way to build it, and we won't get into private label today, but there's a way to keep going on Amazon until you can get a very automated sort of income. And then that frees you up to do what you really want to do. And everybody selling online maybe isn't, a passion project, but it is something that can open the world up to you so you can go and do those things you're passionate about.
That's right.
And there was so much, I have clients that went to your seminar, and I saw the photos, and there was just so much love and goodwill there, and people sharing ideas, and keynote speakers. And that's the other thing, is that some people think that there's just this pie, and that if I have my slice, I can't share my slice of the pie, because then someone else will take that piece. Okay. So I think your point of view is different, that either the pie is growing, or that there's enough for everybody, and that by helping other people, you're not actually harming your business. Would you say that that's where you're coming from? That
Yes, I mean, definitely. And some people refer to that as abundance mindset, and maybe that has been overused in some way, but I just call it that. See, Amazon, what people don't understand is Amazon is not a static platform. It's like a river. It's ever growing, ever widening, ever moving, ever changing.
Look how much Amazon has grown.
Exactly. So from 2014, when I started in Amazon, there were I don't know, X number of listings in the Amazon catalog. Products listed in the Amazon catalog. Since that time, it has grown 100-fold plus.
Yes.
All right. So if you think about it like this, in terms of retail, let's just view the old downtown areas of our towns and our cities, right? There's only so many blocks, and only so many buildings, and only so many retail, that can be supported by that number of residents.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is a static environment. Amazon has exponentially increased their Prime membership, exponentially increased the number of products offered on the Amazon platform, and exponentially increased the sellers. Andy Simons always says the best time to sell on Amazon was 15 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah, now.
Carpe diem, seize the day,
Yeah.
because it's ever increasing. So, when I started in 2014, people were like, I think the Amazon platform is saturated. There's probably too many sellers. Well, I made $17,000 in order product sales, and the very next year paid off my mortgage because I didn't listen to that.
There's all this stuff about RAs, retail arbitrage, where you go to stores and shop where you can't do it anymore. And then you talk to like Kim and Perry.
Right.
Also,
right.
Part of they went to your
massive sellers.
They are extremely generous with their time, and they say they do all RA, and it's just
all RA. That's right.
I thought the people who were into the millions now were only doing private label, and I've been in this for 4 or 5 years, and that was my impression, that the only way you really got to the top and stayed there was by doing private label eventually, which is selling your own products with your own label on them. So there is no one way of doing this.
No, there's not. And that's the reason is because Amazon is very responsive to change in the marketplace and change in the customer base. They're very customer focused. Us in Amazon Seller Tribe, we're very seller focused, because if we focus on making you the best seller that you can be, then you will be the best customer oriented seller that Amazon has seen, and you will grow exponentially. Yeah. We have sellers who are doing multiple millions on the Amazon platform in RA only. Others that are doing multiple millions in OA, online arbitrage, never set foot in a store, so to speak, and have shoppers who go on .com sites, Target.com, Macy's.com, whatever the sources are, and buying online arbitrage and making millions of dollars in ordered product sales. Yeah. And Gary Ray, my partner in Amazon Seller Tribe, is a master at online arbitrage. He has perfected a system that is just more or less plug and play. So he has shoppers that place the orders for him. They go to his prep and ship, whereas people are prepping and shipping. It's totally hands off. He doesn't ever touch the product. And the proceeds comes in, and he makes the spread, as he calls it. That's the profit.
Yeah.
So, lots of ways to do it on Amazon, but the most important thing is to just get started.
Yes. You
just have to get started. You just have to say, wait a minute. Really, there's nothing special about Heather or Gaye. We're just regular, ordinary people that saw an opportunity to change our lives in an extraordinary way, and we took the steps needed.
That's exactly right. Now, I just wanted to do, since we're a prep center and we're going to be talking about prep a lot on here too, did you do your own prep when you started?
Yes, we did. And I really honestly, Colleen and I thought we were going to have a nervous breakdown the first shipment we sent in, because we were so newbies, we were so novice at even, but see, also we, as older people, we didn't, we still had not gotten over that tech curve, You younger people, you're like, it's so innate in you. And even younger people than you, there are like, that's so easy. For us, it was like, well, if I push this button, does the whole thing go away, or is it automatically saving it? We wouldn't even, our first shipment, we wouldn't even stop. Yeah, our first shipment, we wouldn't even stop to eat supper, because we were afraid everything was going to disappear and we would have to start over. And so, yes, we did our own prep and ship. then when we hit this beauty supplier and we had more inventory coming in than we could handle, and I was still at that time working as caregiver for this elderly surgeon that I told you about, because I really felt like I was called, even as our Amazon business was growing, I felt like I was called to stay with him until he made his journey on to see Jesus. And so I would drive back and forth to Springfield, so an hour drive up, an hour drive home, and my shift up there with them and love them and serve them. And then we would head straight to the basement, right after supper and work and ship until.
So you made a space in your basement?
Right. We had a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and it had a full unfinished basement.
Yep.
So we had set up our space. We were doing the thing like where you're sliding the boxes down the steps to the basement, and bringing the car around to the back door at the basement, to load up and get it off to UPS. And then we were like, wait a minute, we've got so much product coming in now and we have enough capital to buy it, that we decided to hire a gal. And this actually came because we shopped a liquidation sale, which lots of people overlook those liquidation sales and leave money laying on the table. But a shoe store in our area was going out of business. And so we started scanning through, we saw good stuff, and we started buying a lot of inventory. And one of the gals that was working at the shoe store really started helping us. And we over the course of probably a week, we bought, I don't know, maybe $30,000 worth of inventory in total from that shoe store. And so we saw her every time we were in there. And so when we're talking about, we need to hire somebody to help us, Colleen was like, Joanna, she was really a prime employee. Let's, and that's how we got Joanna.
Yes.
And so, we just were able to grow from there. So then at that point, we didn't do our own prep and ship. And now Colleen oversees, we have our own warehouse here in our new property that we have. And Colleen oversees the warehouse out there. And I rarely touch a box myself now.
Yeah, that's nice. I think I'm always like that when I see someone serves coffee really well, just doing a good job, whatever they're doing. I'm thinking, I'm going to remember, that's how, and if people are out there thinking about growing their business or getting some help for prep or sourcing, look at the people around you that are doing really good things,
That's right.
that could possibly even help out that a single mom or something. We have Tracy who works with us, who's a single mom and does a fantastic job. And
good point.
It's a great feeling to be able to employ somebody as well once you get to that level.
That's right.
To share that. Well, was there any other tips for someone starting out?
Well, I think, for people who are starting as Amazon seller is you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And so don't assume that you do know it just because you saw, a YouTube video or, and also don't assume that you do know it just because you saw a YouTube video from a couple years ago, because Heather, how quickly things change on Amazon. So if it's not from, this year, a tip or trick or technique, it's probably not going to be current. And so it is helpful to be in a seller community. And that's important. The other thing is, as you're scaling your business, and my partner Gary Ray says this all the time, is get rid of the nickel work as quickly as you can. And for us, the nickel work was the prepping and shipping. Yep. Because
I love that.
Because you could train somebody to do that. You might not be ready to train somebody to do the actual shopping for you, but we could train somebody for prep and ship. Yep. And you have a prep and ship center. So people could theoretically, order their stuff, buy their stuff and never have to touch it. You prep it and ship it for them, and they can scale faster. Then that means you can scale faster. Also remember that the number one thing when you enter into the Amazon seller space is that you are number one, first and foremost, a buyer. You make your money on great buys.
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to be a great buyer is the best thing you can ever do for your success in your business. Learn to be a great buyer, because if you buy well, you will always sell that. You will never be sitting on inventory, because you will be able to sell it if you've bought well.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. And I will say that there are tax-free, talking about moving your stuff to a prep center. Oregon is one of the tax-free states. Is it New Hampshire? Do you know any of the others?
Yeah, New Hampshire, and I'm not familiar with the other Montana, yes. Montana, yes. And there's maybe one or two others, but
so
yeah.
if you're
I
doing
would get my stuff to you guys if I was doing stuff on the West Coast now like I used to.
Yeah.
I'd be getting my stuff to you guys.
Yeah, online arbitrage, try and send it to a prep center in a tax-free state, simply because you are not then paying your whatever 8%, 8 to 10% in tax, and that can almost cover your prep fees right there. So
yeah, exactly.
If you're living in a state where you get charged sales tax, we go to California a lot. It always, when you've lived in Oregon for a little while, it hurts. You're like, hang on, you got to add that to the price.
That's right.
Having said that, in Australia, where I'm from, or lived for 25 years, they do it a little differently. They do have 10% sales tax on everything, but it's already, because the whole country's the same, it's
right
on the price tag. So it's almost like you kind of forget it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the price tag is the price tag, just for an interesting segue.
Side note.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you so much, and I hope that in the very near future we get to meet, and I will certainly be attending the conference next year.
Yes, awesome.
I'm so glad I heard about you from my clients, and I'm going to put the details for do you have a Facebook group is it just a membership site, or do you have
it's
for public?
Yeah, if you want to find out more about Amazon Seller Tribe, just go to www.amazingfreedom.com/arbitrage.
Okay.
So amazingfreedom.com/arbitrage, and that'll get you on the page to show you what we're about. I think that's the page that has that story. You'll actually see the video where me and Colleen went down to the bank and paid off our mortgage in 1 year, and then we got to do another fun thing there, because we felt like, if God helps us, we want to spread that love and that sort of thing. But anyway, and then we'll show you about what we're about in Amazon Seller Tribe. So thank you for letting me come on here today.
Thank you. And I think that's part of changing your mindset, is surrounding yourself, even if in this world, it doesn't even have to be physically, surrounding yourself online with these positive stories. And that in itself can help you get out of rock bottom and get yourself on track, if that's where anyone's finding themselves right now. So it's a very, very inspirational to talk to you, and thank you again.
All right.